Good morning. Whoever you are, whatever your age or background, whomever you love, wherever you may be on your own spiritual journey, please know that for this hour, you are part of this one gathered congregation, and you are welcome here. And welcome to all of our friends on Zoom this morning. My name is Michael Gardner, using he, him pronouns. I'm a worship associate here, and it is today my honor and privilege to welcome and assist our guest minister in the pulpit, the Reverend Diane Daniels, while Reverend Dara has her regularly scheduled day off. Reverend Daniels, with she, her pronouns, was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. Her parents, Charles and Catherine Morton, were not big churchgoers, but they had a deep faith. She married her high school sweetheart, Aaron Daniels, and they have 3 grown children, laughingly called his, mine, and ours. That's Christopher, Ronald, and Ariana. Reverend Diane was introduced to the UU faith by Miss Lottie Scott, a community elder and mentor, and has been a member of the UU congregation in Norwich, Connecticut for over 30 years. The Norwich congregation is where she felt the call to ministry, and she was ordained there in October of 2023. Reverend Diane graduated from the Starr King School of Ministry in late 2021, and she accepted a half-time ministry position in Norwich in 2024 and continues preaching there on first and third Sundays. Welcome, Reverend Daniels. As we do every week, we gratefully acknowledge the Patuxet Wampanoag people on whose ancestral lands we gather today. We commit to support and honor their history and culture. Everyone is invited to coffee hour following the service in the Assembly Hall. It's through that door to the left. Just follow the crowds. And for those who are visiting, please take a red mug so that we can offer you a warm First Parish greeting. A big thanks to the Hospitality Committee, who week in and week out make sure that we have plenty of coffee and snacks and treats, generally contributed by people following the alphabet. Today, K and L, I understand. Our thanks to Sally DeLisa for the lovely flowers this morning and for her heartfelt dedication to those whom they commemorate. I see we don't have any announcements in the order of service today, but they are on the UU News, and of course there is in the parlor a table with lots of sign-up sheets for the summer fair, which will be held later in June. In addition to that, in the Assembly Hall, Nancy Dobbins will be having available some postcards that she hopes people would be willing to sign and perhaps address to people in swing states. She was announced in the UU News, I think, last week that it would be this coming Sunday, but she's gotten the cards, and if anybody's interested, you can stop by and see Nancy about that. This week we are having written joys and concerns. If you have something that you would like to share, but you haven't yet placed it up in front of the sand there, you can complete the form in the pew and bring it up front, perhaps as the children are being sung out to go to their classrooms. And as a final reminder, the candles and the sand are here every week so that any time prior to the service, you may light a candle and put it in the bowl of sand, either as a silent candle or by also placing the written card in the basket. Reverend Daniels.
Good morning, First Parish. It's been a couple years since I've been here. Some y'all been around a while. Y'all may remember me. Can you hear me okay? Is that better? You want me to go closer? How's that? I'm not often accused of being soft-spoken, so I don't mind you telling me, Diane, we can't hear you. I'll turn the volume up a little bit. Our opening words this morning were written by Samantha Lynn Wilson and are titled, "We Practice Being Called." A call to worship is, in fact, a call to focus our attention. Choosing to focus our attention is countercultural. Daily, we are called to worship at the altar of many devices, surveillance systems that we let take the lead over our every waking moment. We are called by headlines set purely on our activation and by tools that gamify our every human connection. We are not called, we are led. We are not led, we are entrapped. Instead, here, we practice being called. We are called to bring our attention to the altar of unpredictable human relatedness. We are called by our ancestors. This wood, this room's particular light, this chalice's particular fire, and our fellow congregants, both in person and online. We are called to focus all our attention on a foolhardy and open-hearted commitment to share a future together, which we cannot cancel or control. In the words of the poet, farmer, Wendell Berry, we are called here to do something today that does not compute. Spirit of life, call our collective attention to this precise moment, the threshold between then and now, the moment upon which we hang our honest promises like portraits, chiseled and framed by our own hands, imperfectly and together. Come, let us worship together.
Please rise in body or spirit, and for the singing of hymn number 9, the words are on the screen and in the gray hymnal.
Right grateful take the good I find the best of now and here. I break my pilgrim staff, I lay aside the toiling oar. The angels sought so far away, I welcome at my door. For all the charming
And please remain standing while Jay and Kathy light our chalice.
Let this flame be to us a symbol of the wholeness we seek. Its glow reminding us of the sacred bonds that link us to all living things.
Justice and peace on all the world.
Rejoice in love we know and share in love and beauty everywhere. Rejoice in truth that makes us free and in the good that yet shall be.
And now, if you would join in singing the children out with the words from hymn number 118, This Little Light of Mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine everywhere I go. I'm gonna let it shine everywhere I go. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
The joys and concerns we carry with us into the sanctuary, recognizing that a joy shared in loving community is a joy amplified, and that sharing our concerns with one another, we lay down these burdens to be held even for only a moment by this entire community. As we did last week, the Pastoral Care Committee would like to share again a joy that Betty Thornton, a very long-time member at First Parish, will be celebrating her 101st birthday this coming week. At coffee hour, please stop by the table where Nancy Dobbins is and perhaps just sign a birthday card for Betty. We ask you to consider signing it, even if you've never had the privilege of meeting her or getting to know her very well. We believe she and her family would love to know how many members of First Parish are thinking of her. We light that first candle for all the joys that we have. Mary Flanagan and Sherry Gardner have expressed a concern for Jean Penn then as she supports her husband in his serious illness. And I'd like to share a sorrow at the passing of former Massachusetts Congressman Barney Frank. I met him briefly in the early 70s when he was a state legislator representing the Back Bay. He was a progressive dynamo then and continued to be an accomplished advocate, politician, and legislator for his entire life, sponsoring and crafting landmark legislation and literally giving sage advice to his fellow citizens from his deathbed. As a gay man, closeted for more than half his life, he demonstrated remarkable courage and leadership by example when publicly discussing his sexual identity in a prearranged Globe interview, putting it all in perspective with the final telling remark, "So what?" A declaration, not a question. How he lived his life and his accomplishments helped make the world a better place for so many people, for so many of us. And that is our candles of concerns. So, for the state of the world, Cindy Ladd-Fiorini has written, "I'm so concerned that we live now in a country, I'm so concerned and sad that we live now in a country where politics can silence it all over." Stephen Colbert had his last show this week. So many will miss his voice. And on this Memorial Day, an ongoing concern for the world remains, as it has for centuries, that humans refuse to learn and follow the great lesson. That true power, true and lasting accomplishment, comes not from war and unbridled violence, but rather from collaboration, cooperation, and ultimate alliance, even with those we currently perceive as our enemies: Germany, Japan, Vietnam. Our very survival as a species may depend on our learning and following this great lesson. May it be so. This is a candle for our concerns for the world. And our final candle this morning is lit for those joys, sorrows, and concerns deeply felt in our hearts, but not yet spoken. What's next?
Good morning again. Our pastoral prayer and meditation this morning is titled Meditation on Attention and was written by Nancy Reed McKee. Sit and rest for a minute. Take several deep breaths in and out again, calling your attention to this sacred space. Attention. Pay attention. Pay attention to where you are right now. I mean, where you are. Where you are. And where you are. You are here, in this community, in this sanctuary, in this state, in this country, on this beautiful blue planet, whirling through the tailspin of a galaxy. You are unique. You are made of cells and hormones. You are a mix of thoughts, emotions, and values. You are the inheritors of your ancestors and your parents' dreaming. You are part of the human inhabitants on this earth. You are. You exist. You are connected. You are present. You have a holy spark inside you. You are here now. You are paying attention. Blessed be.
The first reading is Silence is Not a Punishment by Laurie Stevens, a graduate of the Harvard Divinity School and now the settled minister at the UU Church in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Our culture is loud. It clamors and clangs for our attention. We're told to be silent when we misbehave. Go to time out and think about what you did. Silence starts to make us nervous. Our mind also learns to clamor and clang. But silence is not a punishment. It's peace. Silence can be a warm blanket, a listening friend, a channel for the ever-flowing river of love. Laurie Stevens. Let us open our hearts for a few moments in this precious silence as we prepare to participate in this morning's offering. The morning offering for the work of the church will now be gratefully offered and received.
Yes.
Our next reading is titled All at Once and was written by Eve Driver. It is all blooming too quickly to write a poem about it. I cannot blink enough times and still see everything that needs to be added to the list of beautiful things. Why is it that the good begets the good until there is more of it than any of us need right now? More dogs. I'm a dog fan. More wide-legged trousers. More people sitting down at picnic tables and introducing themselves for the first time. More children running around the bases of a baseball diamond. More women lying on benches with books in their hands and rollerblades on their feet. Where was all this, I want to ask, when we needed it? Where will it be when we need it again? If I sit at enough sidewalk tables and do enough slow laps around the block, will it linger on me like the smell of fire on jeans the next morning after a bonfire? Or must I scream to everyone, come right now? You've got to see this. If you don't come now, you'll miss it. My sermon this morning is titled, Where is Your Attention Leading You? We live in an age of interruption. Notifications, headlines, outrage cycles, endless commentary, algorithms that know exactly how to hook our nervous system and keep us scrolling. They didn't make up the term doom scrolling because there was no reason for it. And yet, attention may be the most precious spiritual resource we have. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. Where your energy flows, habits begin to form. And habits, repeated quietly over time, shape character. In other words, attention is not neutral. It is formative. This should matter to us as individuals. It should matter to you all as a congregation. And it should matter in a world that often benefits from our fragmentation. Because what we attend to becomes the soil of our spirit. If your attention is captured constantly by fear, fear grows deep roots. If your attention is continually drawn toward resentment, resentment spreads. If your attention is intentionally directed toward love and justice, generosity and courage, those qualities deepen and strengthen. The question before us is not, are we paying attention, whether we pay attention or not? The question is, where is your attention leading you? What is your attention drawn to? What's becoming part of your soul of the Spirit? Soil of the Spirit. Gardener over here. Blame my mama. She gave me the gardening gene and I keep it going. Attention is a spiritual act. We often treat attention as accidental, something that just happens to us. But attention is not passive. It's devotional. Whatever you constantly give your attention to, you are, in a very real way, worshiping. not in a formal, ritualized sense, but in the sense of devotion, orientation, priority. Attention reveals what we believe matters. And if love is at the center of our Unitarian Universalist faith, not sentimentality, not niceness, but deep, courageous love, then the organizing question becomes, is our attention aligned with what we claim to love? Because love requires focus. Love requires noticing. Love requires sustained presence. Spiritual maturity is not measured by how much we know. It's measured by how much we consistently choose to attend to. What things do we choose to put our attention on? And that is especially true for this congregation. First Parish Duxbury is not a fledgling community. This is a congregation with history, with memory, with scars, wisdom, and lived experience. You have stood up publicly. You have marched. You have held signs during protests. You have encouraged young people to speak their truth. You have supported organizations pushing back against entrenched systems. That's not accidental. That's attention made visible. You have chosen to pay attention to justice, to inclusion, to the voices that too often get silenced. That is spiritual devotion. But here's the deeper layer. The same power that fuels activism also shapes your inner life. If you want your actions to be sustainable, your attention must be anchored. There's a simple progression that shapes every human life. Attention leads to thoughts. Thoughts lead to actions. Actions to habits, and habits to character. It begins quietly. You notice something repeatedly. You dwell on it. It shapes your thinking, and your thinking impacts your choices. Your choices, repeated, become habits. And over time, those habits become character. Spiritual formation is not dramatic. It's cumulative. It happens in the ordinary moments. When you choose what headlines to linger on, whether you decide to amplify outrage or offer steadiness, when you pause before reacting, when you redirect your mind toward gratitude or toward generosity. This is not about denial. It's not about ignoring injustice. It's not about pretending harm does not exist. It is about refusing to let fear become the organizing force of your spirit. Love must be the organizing force. And love is not naive. Oh no, love sees clearly. Love resists what harms. Love stands in solidarity. Love holds signs during protests. Love speaks at town halls and during public comment periods. Love challenges old networks that exclude. But love does not let bitterness take root in the soil of the Spirit. If your attention is always locked on what is broken, your spirit begins to feel only brokenness. If your attention is intentionally widened to include resilience and generosity, courage and beauty, those qualities strengthen. This is where spiritual maturity matters. Maturity says, I can look at the world honestly without being consumed by it. Maturity says, I will not let distraction dictate my interior life. Maturity says, I choose where my attention rests. That is discipline, not rigidity, discipline. And discipline at its root means devotion. A congregation is more than a building. It's more than programming. It's more than governance structures. A congregation is a community of shared attention. What do we talk about repeatedly? What stories do we tell? What virtues do we celebrate? What behaviors do we normalize? That's the soil of the congregation's spirit. If we constantly attend only to what is wrong internally, we create a culture of fatigue. If we attend to generosity, financial generosity, emotional generosity, generosity of interpretation, that becomes culture. If we attend to interdependence, recognizing that none of us stands alone, resilience grows. If we attend to love at the center, not as a slogan, but as a practice, transformation happens. And here's the beautiful thing about UU congregations. You already understand shared attention. When you gather to stand publicly for justice, you are amplifying attention. You are saying, we will not look away. When you encourage younger members of the congregation and the community to speak up and speak out, you are redistributing attention. You are saying your voice matters. When you live stream services, hey, all those folks out there live streaming, you are extending attention beyond these walls. But spiritual sustainability requires something more. It requires us to ask, are we also attending to what sustains us? Are we nourishing gratitude alongside critique? Are we celebrating progress alongside resistance? Are we mentoring our young people, not just in activism, but in spiritual grounding? Because what you collectively attend to will determine the character of this congregation in the years to come. Let me challenge you gently and directly. Distraction is not only technological, it is emotional. It is easy to be pulled into outrage cycles. It's easy to live in a constant state of reaction. It's easy to let urgency crowd out reflection. But sustained transformation requires focus. If you want to know where your life is leading, examine your attention. If you want to know where this congregation is heading, examine what you amplify. Love must be affirmed, yes, and it must also be practiced through attention. That means notice courage when you see it. Notice generosity when it shows up. Notice young leadership emerging. Notice your own growth. Train your attention toward what strengthens the spirit, because what you attend to becomes the soil of your spirit, and soil determines what can grow. If the soil is constantly churned by anxiety, fragile roots struggle. If the soil is tended with care, resilience grows deep. You are not a congregation of novices. You are spiritually seasoned. You know what it means to stand publicly. Now the invitation is to stand internally with the same clarity. Let love organize your attention. Let attention become devotion. Let devotion shape habits. Let habits form character. And let character guide action. Because the world does not need more distracted people shouting. The world needs spiritually mature communities whose attention is anchored in love. That is strength. That is transformation. That is the quiet, steady power of a people who know exactly what they are becoming. So I leave you with the question we began with. Where is your attention leading you? And even more importantly, where do you want it to lead? Amen. Ashe. Blessed be.
Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life. Words on the screen and also in the gray hymnal. Please remain standing and join Jay and Kathy in the extinguishing of our chalice.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light unity, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Please be seated for the benediction.
Our benediction this morning is titled Be on the Lookout and was written by Reverend Scott Taylor. Trust, friends, that the seeds of new beginnings are always taking root, even when the ground is cracked and dry. Know there is always a way forward, even if it's not the one you wished it would be. The lights never stay off, friends. Life is too wild for that. For there is something unruly and loving at the heart of it that is always sneaking in from the side, wanting us to take its hand and dance. So be on the lookouts, beloveds, as we go our way. Go forth and share your unique personal gifts and perspective with the world. Share what you've found here in this sacred place with just one other person. Thank you for your time and attention, and have a fabulous week ahead.